Hello there. We are going to discuss solution to all the questions those are asked in GATE 2008 with respect to analog circuit. These are the questions those are asked in GATE 2008 with respect to analog circuit. We will discuss solution to each and every question one by one. First question is question number 17. In question number 17, there is a circuit given with the combination of Zener diode and diode. Here input voltage is applied with sinusoidal voltage is applied whose amplitude is 10 volt, and it is given that the Zener diode has a breakdown voltage of 6.8 volt and each diode has drop of 0.7 volt when they are in forward bias condition. What we have to find out is what is the maximum and minimum value of the output voltage. So we will analyze what will be the output voltage by taking the positive half cycle of the input voltage as well as the negative half cycle of input voltage. Now during the positive half cycle, when the input voltage is varied from 0 to 6.8 plus 0.7 volt. Why 6.8 plus 0.7 volt? Because the Zener diode has a breakdown voltage of 6.8 volt. Once the input voltage is greater than this 6.8 volt plus this diode will have a drop of 0.7 volt. So the total voltage that is needed so that the diode will be in forward bias as well as the Zener diode will be in breakdown region is 6.8 plus 0.7, that is 7.5 volt. So when the input voltage is varied from 0 to 7.5 volt, what will happen? During that period, the voltage is not sufficient for the Zener diode to enter into breakdown region. So this will act as open circuit, and this is already as it is in reverse bias condition. So this is already in open circuit. So output voltage will follow the input voltage. If we can draw the circuit during this span, that is V input voltage is varied from 0 to 7.5 volt. Both the parallel branches will be acting as open circuit and the output voltage will follow the input voltage. Next, when the input voltage is greater than 7.5 volt, that is the input voltage can go maximum up to 10 volt. So when the input voltage is greater than 7.5 volt, then Zener diode will enter into breakdown region and D1 will be also forward bias. So now if we redraw the circuit, when the input voltage is greater than 7.5 volt, then the diode will be replaced with 0.7 volt battery as well as the Zener diode will be replaced with 6.8 volt battery. So the output voltage will be fixed at 7.5 volt. Now let's discuss the case what will happen during the negative half cycle. During the negative half cycle, this diode will be in reverse bias condition always. So this branch will be open circuited. So this branch will be open circuited, and when the input voltage is less than 0.7 volt, up to that point D2 will also be in open circuit condition. So when the input voltage is varied from minus 0.7 volt to 0 or from 0 to minus 0.7 volt, then both the branches will be again open and the output voltage will follow the input voltage. But what will happen when the input voltage is negative and exceeds 0.7 volt? That is when the input voltage is less than minus 0.7 volt. In that case, this D2 will be forward biased. So the output voltage will see the voltage that is a battery source which is of minus 0.7 volt. So output voltage will stick at minus 0.7 volt. Now we will try to draw the input voltage output waveform. Here is the input sinusoidal waveform which has a peak of 10 volt, and what will happen up to 7.5 volt the output voltage will follow the input voltage, and after 7.5 volt the output voltage will be fixed at that 7.5 volt. And during the negative half cycle, when the negative voltage is exceed minus 0.7 volt, then also the output will be fixed at minus 0.7 volt. If you draw the output waveform, then it will be clipped at 7.5 volt, that is 7.5 volt is the maximum voltage, and during the negative half cycle it will have the minimum voltage of minus 0.7 volt. So among the option, the correct option is option C. Thank you. The next question is question number 19. In this question, the MOSFET current in saturation region is given. Now we have to find out what is the transconductance of MOSFET. The transconductance of the MOSFET is nothing but the change in output current with respect to the input voltage. I put current with the drain current ID and the input current is VGS. So once we will differentiate this ID with respect to VGS, we will get 2K VGS minus VT. Once we will differentiate, we will get 2K VGS minus VT, hence V is the correct answer. Thank you. Next question is question number 44. In this question, a circuit is given which is a combination of two NMOS transistor, and it is asked what is the relation between Ix and I bias current. If you see, what are the things given here? In the question it is given that both the MOS are identical, that is the threshold voltage of both the MOS are equal and their W by L ratio equal and their Kn are also equal. Now if you see the transistor M1, its drain and gate are both shorted, so it will be always in saturation region. So for M1, as drain and gate are shorted, so its drain voltage will be equal to the gate voltage, that is VD1 is equal to VG1. Hence it will always fulfill the condition, that is VDS of 1 will be always greater than VGS1 minus VT. So it will be always in saturation region, hence we can apply the saturation current equation, that is I bias current will be always equal to Kn by 2 VGS1 minus VTH. Now if you see the gate of both the NMOS transistor are at the same potential, so as their source. So VGS of both the transistor are equal. As VGS of both the transistor are equal, so the transistor are perfectly matched also. So what will happen? The Ix current will be same as that of the I bias current. We can also directly say that this is a current mirror circuit. Hence Ix will be always equal to the I bias current. So if you see among the option V is the correct answer. Next question is question number 46. In this question, a circuit is given with op-amp and diode combination. The current across the diode, that is this branch, is given. The thermal voltage is also given, and the reverse saturation current I0 is given 1 microampere, and V is the voltage across the diode. Now in the question, the input voltage is given as minus 1 volt, and we have to find out what is the output voltage. Now, as there is a negative feedback, so virtual ground will exist. Hence, V plus will be equal to V minus. As V plus is grounded, that is, it is at 0 volt. So V minus will also be at 0 volt. So if we apply the KCL, as there is no current flowing to the inverting terminal, so I will be equal to I1. So I will be equal to I1, and I1 will be 0 minus V1 by 100k. 0 minus V1 by 100k, which will give you 0.01 milliampere, and this current will be equal to the current across this branch. So this 0.01 milliampere current will be equal to the current across the diode, which is given by this equation, that is I0 e to the power V by 50 minus 1, where V is the voltage across the diode. Let VA be the potential at this point, and this potential is already 0. So V will be equal to, so what will be V? V will be equal to VA minus V minus. VA minus, that is 0, so VA. So V will be equal to VA. So what will be VA? If you see from this side, VA will be equal to V0 minus I into 4K. V0 minus I into 4K, and I value, as you can see, is equal to I1, that is 0.01 milliampere. So after putting this, you will get V0 minus 0.04 volt, that is VA equal to V0 minus 0.04 volt. Now this VA is equal to V, so what we will do is, we will substitute this VA here. So what we have? We have 0.01 milliampere equal to I0 e to the power V minus VT minus 1, and V is V0 minus 0.04, and I0 is also given as per the question 1 microampere. So if you substitute all these values here, then we will get exponential of V minus Vt equal to 11. Then V0 minus 0.4 equal to 25 millivolt ln 11. So finally you will get what is the output voltage. That is the output voltage is 0.1 volt. So among the options, the correct option is option B. Thank you. Next question is question number 47. In this question, we have to find out what is the type of filter of this op-amp configuration. So what we will do, we will first try to find out what is the transfer function, that is the V output divided by V input. Then we will try to find out what is the transfer function value at S tends to 0 and S tends to infinity. So if you see, this is basically Z1 and this is Z2. Z1 is the parallel combination of R2 and the capacitance C. If we represent in Laplace domain, then this is the parallel combination of R2 into 1 by Cs. That is Z1 is the parallel combination of R2 and 1 by Cs, and Z2 is the series combination of R1 and Ls. That is Z2 will be R1 plus Ls. So if we find out the transfer function, V output is equal to minus Z1 by Z2 into V1. So Hs will be equal to R2 by R2 Cs plus 1 R1 plus Ls. So what we will do now, we will try to find out what is the value of Hs at S tends to 0 and S tends to infinity. From that we will find out what is the type of filter. So when S tends to 0, if you put limit S tends to 0 here, we will get these things will be 0. So we will get R2 by R1. Next when S tends to infinity, if you see the denominator has the higher power of S than the numerator. So if we for S tends to infinity, it will have always a value 1 by infinity, which is always 0. So it has a finite value at 0 frequency and it has 0 value at infinity frequency. So the transfer function, if we draw the transfer function, then it will be something like this. So it will have a non-zero value R2 by R1, that is R2 by R1 at 0 frequency, and at infinity frequency it has the value at infinity, it has 0 value. So it is looking like a low pass filter. So B should be the correct answer. Next question is question number 48. In this question, there are two NMOS transistors which are connected in series, and the V bias voltage is applied to N2 transistor. The equivalent GM of the pair of the transistor, which is defined as the partial differentiation of output current with respect to the input voltage that is applied to the gate of N1. We have to find out among the options which one is correct. Suppose I1 is the current that is flowing through N1 transistor and the voltage here is V. Then the transconductance of N2 transistor will be given by the differentiation of the output current with respect to the gate to source voltage of N2 transistor. The gate to source voltage of N2 transistor will be a difference of V bias minus V. So the transconductance of N2 transistor, that is GN2, will be given by the differentiation of output current with respect to the VGS of N2 transistor, which is difference of V bias minus V. Similarly, if we find out the transconductance of M1 transistor, it will be the differentiation of I1, that is the current flowing through M1 transistor, with respect to the VGS of M1. VGS of M1 is nothing but Vi minus 0. So the transconductance of M1 transistor will be equal to del I1 by del Vi. As the M1 and M2 are in series, so the I output current same as the I1 current. So if we replace this I1 with I out, then the GM1 will be given by the del of I output divided by del of Vi. If we see among the option, it is given what is the equivalent transconductance GM, which is defined by del I output by del Vi, which is this one, which is equal to the GM1, the transconductance of M1 transistor. So if we see among the option, it will be closer to the GM, that is the transconductance of M1 transistor. Hence, C should be the correct answer. This question is question number 50. In this question, IC 555 timer is given in unstable configuration, and we have to find out what is the range of the voltage using which the voltage of the capacitor is varied. The internal block diagram of IC 555 timer, it has two comparators, one SR flip-flop, two transistors, and there are three identical resistors, each of 5 kilo. Now, according to our problem, the IC 555 timer is configured in unstable mode. So, there is a 30 kilo resistor connected across here between pin 8 to 6, and there is a 10 kilo resistor connected between pin 6 to pin 2, and there is a capacitor connected at pin 7. We will analyze this. Suppose this is Q1 transistor and this is Q2 transistor. Here it will be always 2 by 3 VCC, and here it will be always 1 by 3 VCC, because this resistor are of equal value, and by applying voltage it will be always 1 by 3 VCC and it will be always 2 by 3 VCC. Suppose the V6 voltage will exceed 2 by 3 VCC, then this comparator, at this comparator, this will have higher value than this one. So it will give logic 0 as the output. So the reset pin R of SR flip-flop will be at 0, which implies the Q bar will go high. Once Q bar will go high, means Q1 transistor will be on. Once the Q1 transistor will be on, the capacitor will find a path to discharge. So the capacitor will discharge across this Q1 transistor. So Q1 will be on and the capacitor will start to discharge to Q1 transistor. Hence the maximum value of VC will occur when the V6 voltage is just exceeding 2 by 3 VCC, because after that the capacitor will discharge. We will try to find out what is the VC value when V6 is 2 by 3 VCC. So maximum value of VC will occur when V6 is at 2 by 3 VCC, and as VCC is 9 volt, so V6 will be at 6 volt. Then we will find out what is the value of VC. Suppose V6 will be at 6 volt, then what will be the current flowing through this branch? This branch will be the subtraction of this VCC 9 minus 6 divided by 30K, that will give the current. And the same current will be flowing through the 10K ohm resistor also, because there will be no current to the comparator here as well as here. So the same current will be flowing through the resistor 10K also. So we will find out what is the value of VC. Suppose I is the current flowing through 30K resistor, then the current will be given by VCC minus V6 divided by 30K, which will give you 1 by 10 milliampere. The same current will also flow through the 10K resistor, as there is no current to the inverting as well as non-inverting terminal to either of the comparator. So you can find out what is VC. VC will be equal to V6 minus I into 10K. V6 minus I into 10K. So I is 1 by 10. So we will get 6 minus 1 is equal to 5 volt. So that will be the maximum value, because after this the capacitor will start to discharge. So DC maximum value can reach up to 5 volt. Now we will try to find out what is the minimum voltage of the capacitor. If you come to the lower comparator, as the capacitor is discharging, then the voltage at this point, that is trigger voltage, will go just below VCC by 3. Then the lower comparator output will give logic 1. As this voltage is higher, this voltage will be just higher than this one. So once this is logic 1, then this SR flip-flop will give the Q bar as logic 0. So once the Q bar give logic 0, the transistor will be off. If the transistor will be off, the capacitor will stop discharging. because there is no path to discharge anymore. Now it will begin to charge through the VCC. It will begin charge through the VCC. So at this point, that is when this V2 is just VCC by 3, that will give you the lowest value of the capacitor voltage. So V2 is nothing but the same voltage across the capacitor. That is V2 is same as VCC. So V2 value will be VCC by 3. That is VCC is 9. So V2 will be equal to 3 volt. So VC will have the minimum value of 3 volt. So as Q1 is logic 0, transistor Q1 will be off and the capacitor will stop discharging. It will start charging. So the minimum value of VC will be at V2 when V2 is VCC by 3. So VCC by 3 is equal to 9 by 3, that is 3 volt. If we see among the option, the maximum value of the voltage will be 5 volt and the minimum value of the voltage will be 3 volt. So the voltage of the VC of the capacitor varies between 3 volt to 5 volt. Hence, A is the correct answer. Next question is question number 53. In this question, it is given that a triangular voltage which is swinging between minus 12 volt to 12 volt is applied at the inverting terminal of the op-amp, and the output voltage swings between plus 15 volt to minus 15 volt. We have to find out what is the swing of the voltage at the non-inverting terminal. Okay, now this is basically a comparator. Suppose V is the voltage at the inverting terminal. Now if we apply KCL at this node, that is the current, that is the summation of current at this node equal to 0. That is this current plus this current and this current. All these three currents, summation of all these three current is equal to 0. So 15 minus V by 10 plus minus 15 minus V by 10 plus V0 minus V by 10 equal to 0. If you solve this, we will get V output to be equal to 3V. So what will be the value of V? V is equal to V0 by 3. So if you see V0 is varying between plus 15 volt to minus 15 volt, then V will vary between plus 5 volt to minus 5 volt, with a condition that the input voltage that is Vi swing must have a peak voltage which must be greater than 5 volt. So in this case, the input voltage has a peak of 12 volt, which is greater than the 5 volt. So the swing will happen between plus 5 volt to minus 5 volt. But if it is the case that the input voltage swing is such that its peak is less than 5 volt, then the output would have stopped either at plus 15 volt or minus 15 volt. Accordingly, the V would have stopped at a particular level, that is either plus 5 or minus 5 volt. But in this case, as the input voltage peak, that is 12 volt, is greater than 5 volt, so the swing will happen at the output as well as at the non-inverting terminal. So V will swing between plus 5 volt to minus 5 volt among the option C is the correct answer. Question number 80 and 81 are linked question. An amplifier circuit is given. We have to find out what is the DC current IE and what is the mid-band gain of the amplifier approximately. And what are the things given? The VB is 0.7 volt and beta value is very large. So let us find out what is the DC current IE. For the DC analysis, we will remove all the capacitor. That is, all the capacitor will provide high impedance path. That is, they will be open circuited. We have given beta is very large. Suppose this point is VB, then we can find out what is the VB. As IB is nearly equal to 0, we can directly apply voltage division rule to find the voltage VB here. The voltage VB will be VCC into 10K divided by 20K plus 10K. So VB equal to VCC into 10 by 30, which will give you 3 volt. Once we get the VB, we can find out what is VB, because VB is 0.7 volt. So V is given by VB minus 0.7 and VB is 3 volt. So V value is 2.3 volt. Once we get VE value 2.3 volt, we can find out what is the IE current, because VE equal to IE into 2.3. Hence IE is given by VE minus RE. VE is 2.3 volt and this is 2.3 K. So IE value will be 1 milliampere. Hence A is the correct answer. Coming to the next part, we have to find out what is the mean and voltage gain of the amplifier. To find out the gain of the amplifier, all the capacitance will be act as short circuited, that is, they will provide low impedance path. So as C is shorted, so this RE resistance will also be shorted, and this voltage, that is the DC voltage, will be replaced by the internal resistance. So this will also be shorted. So this will be grounded, this will be grounded, and this will be shorted. So this 3K and 3K will come in parallel in small signal circuit. And the minimum voltage gain of the amplifier is given by minus R0 by RE, where R0 is the equivalent output impedance, which will be the parallel combination of RL and RC. So R0 is equal to RC parallel RL, and as both are equal, so R0 will be given by 1.5K, and RE value is 25 millivolt divided by IE current. IE is the DC current, that is 1 milliampere we have found out. So this RE value will be 25 volt. Hence the voltage gain will be equal to minus 1.5K divided by 25. That is 1.5K divided by 25, which will give minus 60 as the mean voltage gain. Among the option B is the correct answer. This concludes all the questions of GATE 2008 which are related to analog circuit. If any question is missing, let me know so that I can insert that question. See you in the next set of questions. Thank you.